Welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And of course, good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the world. Good morning to every corner where the 100,000 watt transmitter that Howard and Jack are piping through the airwaves or getting to you. Great to have everybody here. Good morning. Buenos dias to our international audience as well. Anyway, we are going to have a great show today. But folks, I want to have an honest statement before I get busy. But I didn't say this. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis. And today, joining us, of course, will be, it's Thursday. We do some locality with El Señor Neil Aquino. Quick one, Neil. Give us your good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Good morning.
Right.
Good morning, global audience. Good morning, Egberto, and good to see you.
Well, great to have you here. Anyway, folks, before we throw it to the geniuses in the studio, I want to make one mention here. It is the beginning of our, I guess we call it the Winter Fund Drive. I want to just tell you guys a very special thing, okay? We need you to call us early. We need to call us in the middle of the show. We need you to call us at the end of the show. 713-526-5738, extension 1 to donate. We need that. I will be able to see as contributions come in. I want to continue having our programs. I know whenever we have Fund Drive, the first thing people say, not again. And then they get ready and they go to NPR or go somewhere else. I'm saying stay with us. We have material to cover. We want you to stick around. So 713-526-5738, extension 1. And if you stick around and if you go ahead and not force us to have to come and pitch all the time, we're going to show a new way to do this stuff. So 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Go ahead and contribute as you will. But anyway, I want to transfer it to the great folks, the geniuses in the studio.
Well, we're still looking for the geniuses. Always. Okay, don't touch that dial. It is Fund Drive at KPFT 90.1 Houston, 89.5 in Galveston, 89.7 in Huntsville. Time for Politics Done Right to pony up about $300 per show. So we need our listeners to call us at 713-526-5738. Hit option 1 to donate, option 2 to be on the air. Donate to KPFT for Politics Done Right or any other program you prefer. But we prefer Politics Done Right.
Yeah. Look, folks, but before we get started, Jack, I know you have the Fund Drive message, but the day will not start right, or the day cannot start right without a good word of wisdom from our resident Jacques Van Beber. So, you have anything? Even if I'm putting you on the spot, what's your word of wisdom?
Well, my word of wisdom would be to open up your heart, open up your wallet, and give to this radio station because it's worth it. We give you music, we give you accurate information on what's going on in the world. We have prizes, we have T-shirts, we have concerts, as little cancellation prizes for your donation. Just look within yourself and see how much you enjoy KPFT, and then turn around and shake the cushions out and donate.
I like the way you say that. Shake the cushions out and donate. Anyway, we have a great show for you guys today. As usual, folks, we have a great show. We hope to hear from you both, but with your contributions and with your voices. Title of the show today is JD Vance and his sycophancy represents the new GOP. Immigrants boost GDP. Won't you know? Proven. Immigrants boost GDP. But we'll start this morning with the one and only Neil Aquino. Good morning, Neil. How are you doing today?
Good morning. And I'm here talking on behalf of the Houston Democracy Project. You can go to HoustonDemocracyProject.com, and you will see the daily blog and ways you can get involved. And we are looking to increase turnout in elections, and we're also looking for us as individuals to be empowered in ways beyond just voting. Egberto mentioned Egberto mentioned JD Vance, and we were talking before. He lives just 1.5 miles or 2 miles from my mother in Cincinnati. You'd think he'd live in a rural area, celebrating his people that he always talks about, but he actually lives in a fully integrated urban neighborhood. Right, he wants all the comforts of the city, and right there, and Mom did not vote for him. I can assure you.
He wrote his book before he ran, right? That was sort of like the preamble to him running. Okay, that's what I thought. Right.
So I have two local issues that I think, in a way, are connected to talk about. One, it's made a lot of fuss, is on Houston Avenue, which is in the city, just outside of downtown. Mayor Whitmire is ripping out some traffic improvements, pedestrian safety improvements that were just installed at $100,000 cost in December by the outgoing mayor, Turner. And the local church, Trinity Lutheran, which has a number of folks who don't live in the city, doesn't like it, and doesn't like these improvements because it impinges on their ability to turn. So they have to take an extra 60 seconds. And it's a church. You think they'd be good Samaritans helping you along on your journey, but they want to make your journey a little bit more dangerous. And the police union doesn't like it. The fire union doesn't like it. They're located near. And, these things are frequently contentious about changes to traffic safety. And you would think, for all of his emphasis on public safety, that Mayor Whitmire would think that crossing the street easier, slowing down traffic would be a matter of public safety. But he doesn't seem to think that. So the aggressive driver reigns supreme. But the councilman from the area, the district, a new councilman, Mario Castillo, held a rally about the issue. And he asked essential questions, which are deeper even than transportation. Who's paying for the project? By what process had this all occurred? And will the district council people be respected by the mayor? And these are important questions, because it seems that we keep hearing the city is broke. We keep hearing the city of Houston is broke, but the people are in the mayor's ear, these pastors and police union and aggressive drivers, and he's just ripping it up.
I want to interrupt a second, Neil, because I want to make sure that our audience understands what we're talking about here. There is an improvement that was made by the former mayor, and by the way, there has been sort of a contentious relationship between the former mayor and the current mayor, and
he's always taking. Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, Whitmire's always taking a shot at
Sylvester Turner. Anyway, then it turns out now that he did for safety. Sometimes they put medians in for safety to prevent people from dashing over in several areas to get to businesses or churches or otherwise. So that was taken care of. It was likely researched, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now there is the Castillo, who is the local district council person there, was not informed, if I understand you correctly. The mayor,
he was not informed.
The mayor of the entire city decided to go into a local councilman's district and rip up a median, not mentioning, and by the way, welcome Alistair Waters, and by the way, rip this stuff up without the council person knowing, and just doing that as he will. I think you called it a form of autocracy. Go ahead, my friend.
Right. And I'm very familiar with the area. I attended the rally on Sunday that the councilman had, and I've watched the two council sessions where this has been discussed. He just ripped it up. So apparently, and they won't tell you how much they expect this to cost. And there's playground equipment, there's potholes, there's dumping there's stuff all over the city. So apparently, maybe if you just know who's connected to the mayor, you can get that fixed. You can get that fixed immediately. And the mayor's been talking a lot about transparency. There was no transparency here. And I also just want to focus that there were about 70 folks at the rally that the councilman had on Sunday. And I like to see any example of local democracy. I think they're all important. And I like to think, I'm not always sure I'm right, but I like to think that these examples of local democracy will help us as we confront Republicans messing with ballots or civil liberties violations and a potential second Trump term. So I like to highlight and elevate and lift any example of local democracy. And I also encourage folks, as important as neighborhood advocacy is, and it's super important, the connection, to see the connection between the local and the national and the statewide and the countywide and the need to act.
Now, I mean, that is so important. And I want the folks both locally and otherwise to recognize, what we're talking about here. But again, folks, here is a mayor that goes ahead, new mayor. The truth of the matter is, it's interesting the way he won, but let's disregard that and recall that he goes ahead and he makes a change into a local area. We have at-large districts in Houston and also local districts. In other words, what do they call local districts? Anyway,
Well, they'll refer to. I mean, there's 5 at-large council seats, and then there's 11 district council persons,
which is different areas of the county. And each local person pretty much has jurisdiction there. People have problems there, concerns. They consult their local district council person. So they're Go ahead.
You said 2 relevant things. We shouldn't move past how he was elected. It was a Republican-led coalition, and the people he's listening to are the local police and fire union heads and a local church. District H is a predominantly Democratic district, and the people who are upset about this are transportation advocates. So we see who's going to be listened to.
And again, that was an autocratic move. All right, before we proceed, I want to remind everybody that we are in Fund Drive. The more people give early, the least we have to interrupt our programming to pitch. I love preparing these shows, and I still prepare the show for an entire hour, expecting that we will have people call in early to contribute to the program. 713-526-5738, extension 1 to contribute, extension 2 to be on air. Again, please give us a call, 713-526-5738. Look, folks, the state that we are in right now in the country. We complain about the bad information that's out there. We complain about what doesn't get covered. We complain about how can so many people support such a degenerate person for the presidency, and to some extent, so many politicians like Ted Cruz and others who really don't have the interest of the average American citizen, the average Texan at hand. The only reason that occurs is not because people are bad. It's not because people just continue to vote against their own interests, which they do, but a lot of it has to do with people not being informed. And what we do here at KPFT is spend the time, the effort to inform. We go beyond what you're going to hear on the mainstream media. In fact, we cover topics. We take positions, anathema to what you'll find in the mainstream media. So the only way we can continue doing this is periodically coming to you and say, please support our program by calling 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Hit extension 1 to contribute. Let me tell you, again, you can, there are several levels of contribution. There is the $40 dollar level that makes you a full and supported voter at KPFT, meaning you vote for representatives on the local boards. You vote for representatives on. You are part of the entire Pacifica network. This a democratically run station. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. $120 gives you our T-shirts. You can get the Politics Done Right T-shirt. That T-shirt, $120 contribute. Look, I know the T-shirt doesn't cost $120, folks, but what it is it's a token of appreciation for you supporting the program. So just give us a call at 713-526-5738. $120 contribution, which you don't have to pay all at once, is a good way to start out and saying, I get value out of listening to Politics Done Right every day, 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you understand that you are also a part of the program and that you participate in the program. You have the option to direct the program. Where do you get that? You get that here at KPFT. 713-526-5738. Let me jump to Jack and see if Jack has any offers that I need to know about that we're given for this fund drive. If Jack is available, if not, I understand.
Yeah.
Jack, are you available?
Yeah. We got concerts. Okay. The music hall is going on Friday, April the 5th, the Black Crows. We got 5 pairs of general admission standing tickets on that one. The Bayou Music Center, we have Government Mule, 5 pairs of standard reserve seats for $120 pledge. We've got all kinds of concerts at the Continental Club. I mean, Southern Culture on the Skids, Carol in Wonderland, John D. Graham, a Beatle reunion. I mean, anything you would want to watch, we have it here as a token of our appreciation for your pledge.
Interestingly, if you go to kpft.org, you can donate there as well, folks. You can just go ahead and go to kpft.org. And, on the top of, interestingly, they did a nice thing at the top of the webpage this time around. And that is, you can see what the bricks look like. We are also offering those people who join us at $25 a month. You get a 4x4 brick that you can put your name, an insignia, a message, etc. And for $50 a month, you can actually get an 8x8 brick, 8-inch by 8-inch brick.
And that's for a sustaining pledge.
Right. Those are sustaining pledge. We have sustainers at every level. And actually, if we could get a whole lot more sustainers, in the long run, we could actually avoid having to do fund drives at all. So please consider going to kpft.org and hit that donate button. Please remember to donate in the name of Politics Done Right. And, $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month, $25 a month, whatever you can. Because again, we serve you here every day, 5 days a week. We make sure to have we're not just all talk. We make sure to do research and provide you with that information. If you call now or donate now online, I can see it on the screen here so that I can thank you profusely over the air. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Please go ahead and start calling so that I can do more speaking to Neil and do more speaking on the actual topics that I know you'd want covered. I know many times you're tired of fund drives. You're tired of politicians saying we need. You're tired of public institutions saying we need. But this is one institution here, KPFT, one that is there serving you and one that is doing the job to inform. We cannot do this without you. So let me go to Neil and then we'll come back a little later, hopefully after seeing some messaging that's saying, yes, Egberto, we've started to support you. And let me be frank with you. Every program on KPFT has to earn its weight. And what do I mean by that? The way we show that it is a program that the people want is to ensure is that they contribute to say, we want the program. This is not, it is just the reality, right? The only way we know that politics done right is a program that the audience, the listening audience want, is for you to support the program. No two ways about it. And if the program stop, and by the way, you are very good supporters of the program in the past few cycles. The only way we know that people want to hear this program is that if you call up and say, you know what, I'm going to do my little part. I'm going to give Politics Done Right, or KPFT via Politics Done Right, a coffee a month, 2 coffees a month. Do you go to Starbucks or a coffee shop every day, sometimes several days? Can you give us 1 of those coffees a month? Can you give us 2 of those coffees a month? 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to give. And if you need to tell us something, extension number 2. All right, Neil, the other subject that you wanted to talk about had to do with our schools, which were autocratically taken over here in Houston. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
They were, and I'll just make a 30-second pitch. I've been really privileged to be a Thursday guest here for, I think, about 4.5 months. And Egberto engages in a lot of preparations. The geniuses in the studio are volunteers who give a lot of time to this. And alternative structures are very difficult to maintain. The alternative voices here, and I do encourage people to donate. There's a lot of work that goes into this show by good people, and you're really helping something. You're really helping something that's important. Maintain its ability to talk to people. So please do donate. So we talked about one matter of local democracy, people opposing some autocratic traffic safety reversions. Today, another autocratic matter is the school takeover. And today at 4:30 at the Hattie Mae White Building, which is at 4400 West 18th Street, there'll be a read-in as part of the opposition to the takeover. So there's a local group called Community Voices for Public Education. A woman named Ruth Kravitz, a local hero of democracy, runs that along with other folks. And they have done a very good job of keeping opposition to the takeover in the news. And just to remind you, there are 9 so-called board of managers members who none were elected. And one of them, even Jeanette Garza Lindner, lost a school board election to Elizabeth Santos. And now Jeanette Garza Lindner is on the board, and Elizabeth Santos is out because of the autocrat Greg Abbott. And the name of the superintendent, F. Mike Miles, you hear that name often, and he's a very much my way or the highway. So today at 4:30, before the 5 o'clock meeting, and then going into the 5 o'clock meeting, they're going to have a read-in, and I'm going to go. And because what they've done is that they have removed libraries from a large number of the schools. You remember that they got rid of the libraries. And they made them detention discipline centers. That's where they send you now, rather than learn. That's where they send you to punish you. And CVB wants to keep that up, and just a general atmosphere in HISD where they're teaching to the test, and where some of the more nuanced and more involved instruction is gone. I'm going to read a book called Playing in Shadows: Texas and Negro League Baseball. That's the book that I'm going to bring to the 4:30 read-in, and then I'm going to read at 5. And I just want to link this to what we talked about before. There were about 70 people opposing Mayor Whitmire and the traffic median rip out. And today they'll probably get a pretty good crowd. Ruth's been very good at getting its assistant crowd. So we see all these aspects of local democracy. This program is an aspect of local democracy and a free expression and thought. And it's important that we all see each other acting. It's important that we see each other acting from across different communities. At City Council yesterday, there was an extensive discussion about the cancer clusters in the 3rd Ward in the Union Pacific Railroad. And there's a whole community of activists and strong community advocates who are acting there. And they had a very, very interesting discussion at City Hall yesterday about that. So there's a whole world of activism, openness, optimism, care, concern going on across our city and our county. I've given 2 examples of that today with the traffic and then with the read-in. Let's see each other, and let's also have the capacity to work across our differences and trust across our differences, because we're facing this autocratic threat in the election, and we all need to come together to protect ourselves and to make progress from what's coming in this political year.
And that is what we're seeing in not only in the city but throughout the country. That a lot of, in fact, specifically a lot of progressive groups, even with the headwinds of trying to get their message out, not being able to have the access to the mainstream media as many of more, as quite a few others have. They're out there in small groups, but hundreds, thousands of small groups getting the job done. And right here locally, we have quite a few local groups that are getting their message heard, from Indivisible Houston to, we have groups like your organization, the Houston Democracy Project, a whole lot of people getting into coalitions to actually start talking to people and getting the message out. So as we always say, we're here to watch or to have each other's backs. Anyway, folks, call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. We are in fund drive, but what I will be trying to do over these days is ask you to give frequently and early so that we can continue with the flow of the program that you like, as opposed to breaking in too often for a pitch. But until we start getting folks calling in to say, I want to support politics done right, we will have pitches over and over again. So without further ado, though, I want to go ahead and play the JD Vance piece, and then we'll come back to Neil, as well as come back to the phones if anyone is going to be on the phone. But I ask you, call 713-526-5738, extension 1 to support the program. Ohio Senator JD Vance. He is the Republican from Ohio that once said in 2016, I can't stomach Trump, is what he said. He also said, I'm a never Trump guy, of course. Later on, he would give his mea culpa, and he would become one of Trump's biggest sycophants. And that is where we are today. Well, Donald Trump has been pretty much convicted. I think it's because it was a civil case, they don't call it conviction, of doing what again? The judge said he raped the woman. That's not what anybody else said. That's what the judge said. He said if it occurred today, what you did would be called rape, Mr. Trump, right? But JD Vance, when asked about how do you feel about electing a person, about having a person like Donald Trump, who has done this to women, provably, that you support him. I want you to listen to JD Vance's response. Senator JD Vance, Senator Republican of Ohio, JD Vance. Take a listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Wages are rising now, and we just saw that economic report coming this week showing the economy continues to grow, new job growth as well. But since then, Donald Trump not only lost the 2020 election and tried to overturn the results, he also faced a series of legal judgments and indictments. Most recently, this E. Jean Carroll case, where juries have found him liable for sexual assault and defamation, leading to ads like this.
Supporting Donald Trump sends a message to every abuser,
a stunning verdict. Former
every rapist,
has been ordered to pay
and every man who's ever used his power to hurt a woman. Because if he can do it, why shouldn't they?
How do you respond to that your support of Trump is sanctioning that kind of behavior, sexual assault and defamation?
Well, I think it's actually very unfair to the victims of sexual assault to say that somehow their lives are being worse by electing Donald Trump for president, when what he's trying to do, I think, is restore prosperity. So I think it's insulting to victims of sexual assault. If you actually look at so many of the court cases against Donald Trump, George, this is not about prosecuting Trump for something that he did. It's about throwing him off the ballot because Democrats feel that they can't beat him at the ballot box, and so they're trying to defeat him in court. This case case, like so many legal cases against Donald Trump, they're trumped up. They're in extremely left-wing jurisdictions, or it's actually the Biden administration prosecuting his chief political rival. I think most Americans recognize that this is not what we want to fight the 2024 election over. Let's fight it over issues. Let's fight it over how to redeliver prosperity to the American worker and peace to the world at large, not over these ridiculous court cases that, frankly, they've been throwing at Trump for well before he became a political candidate. And they're going to be going after him for a long time because his agenda is actually a threat to the people who have been calling the shots in this country for far too long.
You call it a ridiculous case. These were juries that found him liable for sexual assault and defamation. That's ridiculous?
These are juries, George, in extremely left-wing jurisdictions. These are cases that are very often funded by left-wing donors, and they're cases that are funded explicitly to harm him politically. There's so many problems right here at home. I think Donald Trump is the best guy to fix those problems, and I think that we have a very, very good chance of persuading the American people. What they don't want to talk about is weird juries in New York City. They want to talk about how to make their lives better and how to bring the world to a more peaceful place.
So juries in New York City are not legitimate when they find someone liable for sexual defamation and assault?
Well, when the cases are funded by left-wing donors and when the case has absolute left-wing bias all over it, George, absolutely, I think that we should call into question that particular conclusion.
So you're not troubled by the sexual assault and defamation?
Now, here's the thing, people. Here's the thing. Notice no matter how Stephanopoulos tries to get him to feel some sort of an empathy for the regular women, for women in general, he has no care. Oh, it's the women that go through what the women raped by Donald Trump. They would be embarrassed that you guys are calling him out for that. I mean, it's embarrassing. People want to talk about prosperity. Well, first of all, yeah, people want to talk about prosperity as well, but also people should be concerned that the person who's going to be in the White House is a rapist, right? They should be concerned that the person going into the White House is somebody doing harm to women. They should be concerned that the person going into the White House, in as much as JD Vance would want you to believe that Donald Trump is the president of prosperity, that was never realized. He's the president of giving tax cuts to a lot of rich people and giving temporary tiny tax cuts. And I said temporary, tiny tax cuts to the average American citizen that, guess what? That expired. The tax cut to the wealthy never expired. The tax cut to the middle class, the tiny tax cut that really you barely saw. Some of it wasn't even real because what they did is change the way they withhold your monies. Oh, that was tiny and temporary. We have to grow up. We have to stop it. We have to start believing our eyes, believing our ears when we realize that the person that said that not because one says something means that they would execute something. Donald Trump has failed in rebuilding infrastructure. Donald Trump has failed in building the silly wall. Donald Trump has failed in making people more prosperous. We must remember that under Donald Trump's administration, 80% of people were living paycheck to paycheck. 80% of the working class, paycheck to paycheck. If they got a $400 bill, they would put them in dire straits. Look, it has improved quite a bit under Biden. It's still bad because now 60% of people who live paycheck to paycheck. But Biden has proven better economy than Trump in every aspect. Yet we have the Trump sycophants trying to convince Americans otherwise. And so far, they have been fairly successful. Progressives and Democrats, you got a lot of work to do. And that is why we are here, folks. That is why we are here. Progressives, you have a lot of work to do. Folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute to the program. I don't have any contributions yet, and that's why now I will have to be pitching. I want to give so much more data out here, but we got to pitch. 713-526-5738, extension 1 to support Politics Done Right. Please be sure to tell them you're supporting Politics Done Right. You look like you're itching to say something, Neil. Let me hear you before I jump to Bard. Go ahead.
Let me just make 2 quick comments. He says that the juries in New York City are weird. He lives in Cincinnati, Ohio. He lives in a 75% Biden city. the Cincinnati, this is my hometown. I'm there about a month a year. The Cincinnati City Council is 9 Democrats and 0 Republicans. The county, Hamilton County, is Democratic. He trusts the paramedic, the water. It's weird juries, weird people who live in cities, but that's exactly where he lives. That's exactly where he lives, and he trusts his daily life to a 9-0 city council of all Democrats in Cincinnati, Ohio. And then the other part of that Stephanopoulos interview, he cut the interview off early because Stephanopoulos was asking if Trump had to obey the Supreme Court, and Vance kept saying no, and Stephanopoulos cut him off early. He just cut it off because he was letting him be a dictator.
I was happy to say that, to hear that. Oh, wow. Thank you so kindly. Let me see if I can say their name. They didn't restrict me from saying their name. So thank you so kindly, Johnny and Danny, for your wonderful contribution. She says, it's a very valuable show. Coming from you, that means everything, my dear. Thank you so kindly for your contribution. Please keep calling 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Let's go ahead and jump to Harry. Harry, I'm going to kind of keep the callers a little bit low because we have to do some pitching as well. But come on in, my brother Harry. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning. How are you, Alberto? And
I am doing fine.
Wisdom, and good morning to Neil Aquino. I guess Howard's not there today. Good morning to Howard, and once again, he'll do a good job tomorrow on the Great Wide Open. Anyway, I want to first start off with before I talk about Trump and that piece you played.
Hey Harry, today I'm gonna need you to speed it up today, my brother, because we are pitching as well. So go ahead.
Okay. Let me talk fast. Neil, he's gonna be doing a read-in. I heard that about the Negro Leagues. I think that's a good thing to educate people about the Negro Leagues. And where is he going to be doing that in Houston today?
Neil?
So there's an event staged by a group called Community Voices for Public Education, asking multiple people at 4:30 today to read. Because they're gutting libraries and changing curriculums in HASD. And I just highlighted that the book I'm reading is a history of Negro League baseball in Texas, but I'm not staging the event. I'm participating, and other folks will have other books, but it's at 4:30 at 4400 18th, and it's a great event to attend.
Good.
Go ahead.
I wish I could be there. I think you're doing a good thing. But anyway, I was going to comment quickly on the Donald Trump piece in the George Stephanopoulos interview. Shout out to Amy Goodman. She's had COVID the last few days. She hasn't been on Democracy Now! Let's pray for her that she gets better. And a shout out to the King family. Dexter King passed away a little while back, and I should have mentioned that a few weeks ago. I was listening to it on the Al Sharpton show.
Okay, Harry, I got to go to the other person, Harry, but I appreciate you calling as usual, my brother. Thank you, brother. Let's go to Bart. Come on in, Bart.
Yeah, Harry, if Amy Goodman had all those boosters, how did she get COVID? But what I wanted to talk about was Neil.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, Bard.
You think that our former mayor Sylvester Turner will be prosecuted because I heard that William, his right-hand man, his chief of staff, I think his name was William Paul Bryant.
Yeah, he's going to jail. You're right about that. But yeah, do you have some specific?
12 years, and then he pleaded down to 1 year. I heard that he wore a wire on Sylvester Turner, and they got some information on him. Do you think that the federal government will prosecute or go after Sylvester Turner, or will they give him the same treatment that they give Hunter Biden?
Real quick on that, Neil.
Well,
real quick.
Well, the difference is that if someone on our side of the aisle merits prosecution, we'll support that just and fair prosecution. I have no facts.
Good enough answer there, Neil. Let me just tell you one thing, Bart. Two things I need to tell you, my brother. One, Please read up on vaccines. They are not intended to stop COVID. They're intended to reduce the severity of any disease. That goes with measles. That goes with chickenpox. Anything. Please get educated from sources that make us more intelligent. Please do BARD. It's important. It saves lives. Let's go to Joe. Thank you very much, BARD. You have a wonderful day, sir. Joe, come on in.
Thank you. Good morning, Alberto. Hey, that was an excellent interview with Mustafa Carroll the other day. I think you should follow that up with Dennis Kucinich, who's running for Congress.
Dennis is running again? I didn't know that.
Yes, he's running as an independent, which is terrific.
You know, I got to call Dennis up. The son of a gun didn't tell me. I interview him several times. He's a good guy.
Okay, let me say one more thing very quickly. I can't stand Trump. I think he's horrible. But you people keep talking about him. You're raising his profile. I don't know why CNN did this, and
Joe,
certainly TFT should not be talking about.
Joe, I wanted to respond, brother Joe.
Can I finish one thing? Then
I wanted to answer you, but go ahead, Joe. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You were talking about sexual abuse. You heard of Tara Reid? She's in Russia because she was abused by Biden. And there's another 9 women that came in afterwards that said the same thing. But that was all hushed up. And you don't bring it up. You know, you got to be fair. If you're going to talk about his sexual, which is horrible, and he's done the worst things, so is Biden. And he's a goddamn genocide.
No, Joe. Okay, Joe. I know where you're coming from with Biden. I honestly do. You're my friend. I love you, brother. But we have to sit. You and I, first of all, have to sit down and get some coffee for one particular reason. I think we have to get over, in my humble opinion, or stop trying to make things symmetric. Because the differences between Trump and a Biden is asymmetric. I'm with you on the genocide and Biden, that we have to change that direction. I'm with you. But we have where I think things really, really matters, and we have to get things done, and we have a limited time to do it in. We have to do it right. So I tell you what, Joe, let's go get. I know I love you. I want to make sure that we get this stuff right. That's what I want to say. Okay.
All right.
So we're going for coffee. All right.
All right. Take care.
All right, brother. Peace. All right. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Look, I understand everything that Joe is saying. There are 2 differences that I want to put out there. Allegations that people have mentioned about Biden are just that, allegations, and it's a lot. We have to be careful that we don't allow the right wing to do what they do well in trying to make things what they aren't. Things with Trump are proven, right? Are proven. So, I mean, it's important that we don't look. You don't have to like Biden. You do not have to like Biden. Peace between you and me. I'm not a Biden fan. Am I voting for Biden? Take my host hat off? Yeah. Why? Because I think it is something that for our current reality, I don't see the alternative. If somebody gives me a valid alternative that keeps democracy and otherwise, I'll do otherwise. Neil, please comment on that, Neil. I respect your commentary on that.
Right. I'm voting for Biden, and I agree with what you're saying. I don't
okay. I took you off. I got you. Listen, you can say whatever you want on the show, my brother. But let me just say this, folks. It's important for morality and consistency is important, but also a level of pragmatism for our current reality is also important. I defend no politician over my brothers and sisters. So when Joe comes in here and he has his commentary, he has to have his commentary. We must listen to him. When Brad comes in, I don't have a lot of time to say the things that I want to say to Brad and have the conversation with Brad. When Harry calls and when all the folks call in, we have to listen to all of this and put it in a package and do pragmatically what's best for us all. And that's what we have to learn. But anyway, I got to do a quick pitch. 713-526-5738. I ask you so kindly, just like Joni and Danny did, to support the program. 713-526-5738. As you can see, everybody has a voice here. And your voice doesn't have to mimic our voices here. Your voice doesn't have to mimic what I believe or what Neil believes or what anybody, the idea is you have a platform. Joe called in. I disagree with about a few percentage points of what Joe had to say, but Joe had his platform to come on here and talk. That's what we provide as a service to everybody. But more importantly, what we do is research where the mainstream media is not going to for you. That's our job. That's what we seek, or that's what I feel is my job, to inform, to make sure we stop voting against our own interests. That's why some of the things that I say sometimes to you initially is like, Egberto, what the hell are you saying? And then later on, I would get an email and say, oh my God, why didn't we know that? When I spoke about the other day, I spoke about the billionaire class, and I said some new things in there. And I got an email that said, oh my God, at first I wanted to take your throat out. But my God, I am glad I actually listened. That's the best kind of email one can get, to understand that those of you who are supporting this program, you're not just supporting it as an individual. You are making sure that others are awakened. You are making sure that others become woke. Woke is not a bad thing. Woke just means you're becoming aware. You're understanding better. And when there's nothing better than when those who listen to you call and say one or the other, hey, keep up doing what you're doing. Or two, oh my God, thank you for letting me know that. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to support. If you call right now and say, whatever you want to support, it's a $5 a month. We're really aiming to get more sustainers, people that are going to say, I'm going to give KPFT $5 a month. I'm going to give KPFT $10 a month. I'm going to give KPFT $15 a month, $25 a month. Remember, that's like a coffee. Would you take Neil and I out for a coffee and say, hey, let's just go shoot the bull? I'm sure you would. I am sure you would. Can you make that commitment to this program and say, I am going to give you a coffee a month? I'm going to give you guys a couple of coffees a month, because we need to hear what you have to say. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to contribute to the program. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Folks, $25 a month gives you a brick. If you go to kpft.org, you see what it would look like. Our sidewalks lined with the bricks of the people who say, I am going to be a permanent part of your infrastructure. $25 a month gives you a 4x4 brick with whatever you want to put on that brick. A $50 a month gives you a 8x8 brick for whatever you want to put on that brick. And it populates our sidewalk, our side-ins, etc., to show that you are a supporter of this station that's out there, in the case of Politics Done Right, giving you the truth, giving you perspective, giving you another side of the equation. And Neil, if you want to bug in and pitch with me, just let me see, and you can come in. So come on in, Neil.
Yeah, let me do that. And actually, my father has a brick outside of a community. My late father has a brick outside of a community radio station in Cincinnati, and I go and look at it once in a while when I'm back home. So it's a remembrance of him. This show, we've focused on local democracy issues today. Egberto has allowed me, and the production crew has allowed me to be here on Thursdays. We've talked about a traffic safety issue. We've talked about a school read-in and school libraries, and we've talked about the national issues as well. So you get this whole range of different issues, and we're connecting them together. And this program is an aspect of local democracy. The platform that Egberto referenced, that everyone has the ability to say what they want. We're connecting all these things together and supporting KPFT, and specifically politics done right strengthens local democracy.
Thank you, my brother. Let's go to William. William, come on in.
Howdy, Pilgrim. Thanks for finally the truth. I have been in search of the truth for so long. But if you can reconnect me with whoever I need to make a one-time contribution, it's not a gift. It's not, you know what I mean? It's a contribution towards the truth. Thank you very much.
Well, brother, please go ahead and call 713-526-4000. That's our business office, 713-526-4000. And go ahead. I think it's 4,000. Let me make sure about that. And go ahead and please make sure to tell them that it's in the name of Politics Done Right, so that we get credit for that, because that shows that we are able. That, you know, that's what we're here. So go ahead and just call 713-526. I'm looking up on the website. It's 4,000. That's a business office. 713-526-4000. 713-526-4000.
Thank you for your genuineness.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Okay. Let's all right. Let's go to Brian. Come on in real quick, Brian. I don't have a lot of time, but I want you have your spot here, bro. Talk to me.
Thank you. When is the left going to recognize the mental decline of the President of the United States, Joe Biden?
Okay, let me stop you right there, okay? Everybody at a certain age starts to lose some faculty as far as being a bit more forgetful. I am getting older. I get a bit more forgetful. Neil can tell you sometimes we're talking and I'm like, dang, Neil, I can't remember what I was about to tell you. It's a common thing, okay? Now, 80-year-olds of today are not 80-year-olds of yesteryears. My mother is about 87, 88 years old. She's sharp as a tack. My mother, love her to death. I look at her and I said, Ma, I tell you, don't let some 40-year-olds know that you're 80, okay? Because she's so collective. No, I don't see a mental decline. I see a physical decline, and I see a bit more forgetfulness that is normal with people as they age. And I see the same in Donald Trump. And I see the same in many others, Nancy Pelosi. I see this. Now, I want these old people to eventually pass their, open the door for the younger folks to come in. So I'm with you, Brian, that there's mental decline, but I don't think it's on the negative nature that many of the right would try to do it. And Brian, I got to let you go because I got to get a couple more calls with a pitch. But, we're in partial agreement, dear bro. Have a great one. Let's go to Peter. Come on in, Peter. Oh, as soon as he gets to you, Peter, we'll get you read. Let's see, Peter. You're around, Peter. Come on in.
Good morning, Egberto, and thank you so much, and Neil. And I'll make a quick point.
Yes, sir.
That soundbite. Well, I'm just hearing the tone of the voice of the previous caller. It's just so of course the politicians, as far as so here's can't call a spade a spade. It doesn't matter who it is that's getting victimized. And I kind of took offense, of course, being from New York. The representative's comment. But long story short, it's Greg Abbott. It's the whole Republican Party. Just they don't respect, and that's the part that bothers me most. They don't even acknowledge the people in our society that they have no, say for example, for women, they're victims of sexual assault. So just the denial, and then of course here in Texas, women can't even get reproductive rights. So,
Peter, because we're in fun drive, I got to wrap it up real quick. I appreciate what you're saying. Can you wrap it up real quick for me?
Absolutely. And then just thank you so much for pointing it out. And then if you could at some point make reference to the $7 million donation that Greg Abbott received to, I believe, from corporate. So maybe talk a little about how the implications of that are
to keep the Attorney General. You're absolutely right, sir. Thank you so kindly, Peter. Let's go to Augie. I got about 45 seconds I can give you, Augie. Talk to me.
Oh yeah, that 4,000 number. you have to hit option 4 if you want to get hold of Robin and give donations.
Thank you for
when you hit 4,000, there's a bunch of different options. And also,
I appreciate that. I'll remember that. Go ahead, Augie.
Okay, and then about people talking about allegations and opinions. A lot of people trusted Fox News, Sean Hannity, and Tucker Carlson, but they weren't on trial because they were sued for lying.
Right.
And then they said, we're not a news show, we're a talk show. We have opinions, but people still believe all those allegations, those opinions, those lies. And that's what they throw against Democrat-leaning people. Hey, but I heard it on Fox News. Right. It was an opinion. It wasn't a fact or truth.
Thank you, Augie. I really have to do a quick pitch before we get out of here, but thank you so kindly for your support and your call, my brother. Thank you, Augie. Anyway, folks, please give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. We still have time for me to call you out like I did Joni and Danny. Give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. If you happen to give after the program, please remember to tell them it is for politics done in the name of politics done right. Likewise, you can donate at kpft.org, kpft.org. Hit the donate button. Again, select in the drop-down box that the show you're supporting is politics done right. Give me a quick closer, Brother Neil.
Please visit HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Next Thursday, we'll talk about some local candidates. Early voting begins February 20th. Please donate to Politics Done Right.
Folks, we really need your support. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738 to donate now. If you have a special donation like William did, you can call 713-526-4000, extension 4. If it's that special donation that William spoke about, 713-526-4000, extension 4. Thank you for giving us that information, Augie. Again, folks, but we do need your support. Go to kpft.org, hit the donate button, or call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. If I don't see you pop up on the screen now, I will thank you tomorrow on the morning show. Neil, thank you so kindly for being here. Let me pass it on to the studio for the one and only Jacques Van Bever. Jacques?
Please donate if you can. We need it. We want it. It's about money, honey.
That is so funny. Okay, folks, we got to get out of here, but I have to do the picks real quick one more time. Please give us a call and donate. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Thank you, all the callers. Thank you to the listeners. I love you all. I mean that from the depths of my heart. That's how we are going to move this country, being the togetherness. All right. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.